Yeah, phase two.
nation with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everybody. I'll call the meeting to order. We have a quorum. I will take a motion to approve the agenda in minutes. I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Rich with the county engineer.
Good morning. Just to start off next week, I'm gone all week. Friday to go fishing. So for the following week. The agenda, I'll probably try to have a contract for Bertle 63. That's for a bridge for next year with WHKS. That's on Dogwood just south of 400. That's some issues with that one. This Friday, we're having a pre-con for Rush Avenue, the federal aid project we've got. And I'm gonna do that in combination with Mitchell County. We've got the same contractor, same type of work. So we're in pre-con Friday morning. I do have the plans done for Thrush North, about 50%, 3/90th. Now, having a little bit of conversation with Enos the other day, in an effort to try to, first of all, I think what we want to try to do, and this is with the whole TIF thing, which we can discuss later on.
Yep.
If we can avoid doing anything within the railroad right of way, we can really speed up. We don't have contracts with the railroad to work within the right of way for the approaches. Now, the one thing it does is the railroad approaches are kind of rough, but it's within their 25-foot right of way. So there's always a conflict here or there about who's responsible for those. But if we can avoid working in their right of way, we don't have to go through that whole business of getting a contract with the railroad insurance flags to do the work outside the right of way. So we can speed that project up and not put bid items there. And because it's a local project, maybe there's something we can do when it comes time to construction. Talk to the railroad separately and say, look, this is what we do. Maybe we can work this out better because we're not going through the DOT lettings. So something we can probably look at later on. But for now, I think we're just going to skip the railroad crossing the approaches and do the roadway and figure out what we can do after the fact so we can get the project bid. I'm not going to guarantee that we're going to get it constructed this year. We're late season. And after talking to our contractor that's doing for us right now, there are subcontractors that do the cold site. Not to say that there's not other contractors out there that do it. In an effort to maybe utilize funding better, do we still try to get projects done? I think we still let them see if we can get them done this year, but maybe give them the freedom to work on it next year. But then we'll get into that discussion with discussion later. So that's where I'm at with those projects. I'm hoping to probably have 390th Street plans done this week, not having to deal with the railroad part of things. And then when we come back, when I get back from after next week, the following week, we'll probably have a contract for the Fertile Bridge. We'll have WHKS here to discuss the 2 box culverts we got being let to locally. So we'll have a lot on the plate for the next meeting. Hopefully, the way things go this week, I can probably try to parallel a letting with the box culverts and bring it to crush. I'm hoping to get that far. Otherwise, I'll probably be a little bit behind with letting projects, but that's kind of the timeline I'm on now after I gave up the TEAS program for their plans. So I just did something to do. So that's where I'm at. I'm interviewing. I've got 2 more interviews tomorrow for Russ's position. He's retiring at the end of the month. And so I want to get somebody in there sooner rather than later.
The rumor is true then.
The rumor is
Okay.
and
I
so-
just heard that the other day. I'm like, why did you just talk?
Yeah, I was talking about it. And I, yeah, he said, well, this is what's happening. All right. So once I get done with him, when I get back, I'll start seeing it. Still got ways to hire him too. So hopefully I'll have plans done. So that's off my desk and I can start focusing on it. That's where my plans are.
Any other questions you guys have?
That crossing on 390th Street did that last year.
Let me think. Did they?
Didn't they just, they just last year? They just-
It could have been.
It's way better than ever.
Yeah.
So, yeah, with that.
Then the other one is in Grafton.
Oh, yeah.
That's the other one. So we'll hold back.
That
and-
was some attention. And So I heard that they're doing some crossing repairs stuff that whole line.
Yeah, they're supposed to be. I haven't heard. They were supposed to be doing one in Carpenter. That was supposed to be done last year. Still haven't done that. Yeah,
Because I think every crossing needs attention.
they think there's a lot of road crossings that kind of need attention. I mean, we're just, but it's their funding and it's their everything else. It's not really ours. I know we get phone calls when they're rough. They got bolts sticking out, but there's nothing I can do about it. So
I tell people to call that number, 'cause there's a little blue sign on the crossing, call it number reported every time I see something.
I know we're supposed to have some crossing works on the Manly down here again too. I think they're putting in,
I heard they're putting another spur,
yeah,
that's 2 miles south. They're
Yep.
putting another second.
right on the county line. They're putting their crossing.
Yeah. So 350th will record be open. Pretty much.
I'd just say that.
People that live there, I guess, kind of that road 90% of the time.
Put a $6 million overpass in.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I have.
That's all I got for you.
I didn't see any drainage. Is there any drainage? There's claims. I noticed on there that cement work Kevin Springer did was on there. Any questions you guys got on that?
No, I think it's very fair, so
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Got a motion and a second to approve the claims. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries. What'd you say?
There's a payroll.
I'll second the payroll claim.
I have a motion and a second on the payroll claim. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. There's no reports. I need liquor cigarette license. We have a cigarette license for the Joe Shop and a liquor license for Happy Time. Your motion to approve the liquor and the cigarette license.
No motion to approve.
I'll second. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
Oh, you don't have to. We're doing it. Sorry.
We have 4 manure management plans. Double or Travis Meyer Livestock Farms, Corner View Crop and Livestock, and Double K Farming. Is there a motion to acknowledge the manure management plans? Motion. Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Next on the agenda, we have the closing certificate on the 5.7 million general obligation urban renewal. Jackie sent this to me and said, check it over, make sure you know what you're signing. And the only thing on here that caught my attention was it says that at least 10, and this is what Rich was mentioning because I talked to him, I called him. It said at least 10% will be spent within the 6 months of the date hereof. And then it says at least 45% will be spent within 12 months of the date hereof. Well, we're starting here the end of May, almost June. We don't have a problem with the 10%. What I questioned was, can we spend 45% of this money in the first 12 months, considering we got winter coming?
We're hoping the 10%. Depends on what bids come in box covers. Those are gonna be. Hopefully, I mean, I don't want to sit there and hope that we're gonna get expensive box culvers, but. That could be part of the thing. If we're gonna let them. When will they be? We want them built before winter, so that means 6 months should be doable. But what will those costs be for those? Now, we don't want to get the cart in front of the horse either, and if we've got our other paving projects that I don't know if we really want to prepay any sort of contract for mobilization, things like that.
I thought John said you couldn't do. See,
If
that
it,
didn't count.
if it goes toward construction, if we already have a contract, we're gonna pay a contractor. And we want to pay mobilization, we could probably say, because it's in the contract, we'll be paying a contractor for it as part of the contract, but yeah. So we're hoping we can at least hit 10% with the box culverts. Depending on what those costs are.
What it comes down to is the fact that it says that the county reasonably expects to spend the net sales proceeds to pay capital costs of 10% 6 months, 45 and 12, 75 and 18, and then the rest in 24 months. If the net sales proceeds are spent in accordance with these provisions, the net sales proceeds may be invested by the county without restrictions to yield and rebate payments to the United States will not be required. However, if the net sales proceeds are not spent within the foregoing timeframes, rebate payments to the United States may be required to be made by the county. So if we get audited, we could end up paying.
Well, the kicker
So
was.
the
you
kicker
couldn't-
was-
You couldn't make more on the money you're paying. So Jake.
Unless you get it spent in that period.
Yeah, if you get it spent in that period of time, then you can get a return of 4%. But right now, they're in there at 3.09, so you can't really, in other words, to avoid this, we gotta make sure Jake does not invest this money like more than probably 3%.
Right.
You put the brakes on. That's a good.
If we could meet that other deadline, then we could invest it for higher interest rates, but
Would make
I don't
money
think
off
we're gonna
it.
meet those. They've got, well, they have two different, they have meet this, and then, oh, if you meet this and you want to invest, now you got these other ones you have to meet, and these are more strict. In, what was it, page 3 or whatever it was, there was a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, what Enos had read, listed out for 10% 6 months, and 45% 12 months, but we have winter in the middle, so we never know if we get something done before the 12 months is up. So because we won't be able to, probably, we don't want to stretch out too far and say that we're going to meet this deadline and then invest it. If we do invest it at a higher interest rate, they could come back and say, well, anything you higher than what you're paying in interest, you got to pay back to the higher. So,
And 45% of it's like 2.6 plus. Yeah, but we gotta get spent between now and December.
right, and it could be doable if those, if the pavers have the time to do it before winter. It could probably be done, but I'm not going to guarantee that. That'll make their schedules.
And the way to avoid it is that Jake just.
And break even.
We just break even. Then they. Nothing. And it doesn't mean that we'd end up paying it back. It'd probably be in an audit that we'd pay it back, something like that. So we decided to run it past you two.
And I didn't hear back from the.
Oh,
So we did, I don't know if we got a hold, I mean, it was before holidays. We must not have gotten into the tax bureau since.
All of my scenarios were trying to. Trying to.
What, we have other pipe culvert projects that are going out for bid, which is more feasible to be done this year.
We could,
That were part of that list.
we don't have them in yet. We have the list.
Mhm.
Some of them could be smaller, some of them we might. If I get going, maybe I could figure out how to do it for our own crews.
I suppose they probably can't find materials.
You can probably get these materials, but we can do, on some of these, we can do less formal lettings. So we can try to dig and try to scrape some of the littler ones up. Some of these that we put on the list are a little bit larger than we want to tackle or crews. So, but I'll continue to see if we can try to scrape some of this stuff up before winter, try to get some smaller ones
Yeah,
done.
if there's some stuff in,
Yeah, replace the
Just-
box culvert with a rail car pipe. Well, yeah, we could.
right, or there's some bigger pipe work that is, if I'm, what county crew can do, bid it out to the local guys and see, maybe some of them grab it, get it done this fall so that we can.
Try to keep on top of that
Yeah,
10%
Yeah.
for 6.
That's what I'd recommend do.
Yeah, I think that's what we're gonna try to do. We'll know when we get them bid.
it still comes down to the fact of, do we want to invest this? more than 3.0.
That's,
You take a chance.
I don't think you want to.
No, then it doesn't matter. Yes.
Because then we're okay with how we spend, how fast we
As long
spend.
as we don't, that's that 3.09, we're fine.
I wouldn't take that chance. Cause it's just more paperwork, more pain to start giving stuff back and let's just avoid that.
There's never been this opportunity before.
Yeah. No, it don't. Yeah, it don't happen this way. And that's why they put that in there, because they don't want you borrowing money
To make money.
to make money.
You're
So,
dragging your feet while you're making money.
Right,
Right.
exactly.
That's basically what's in
Yeah.
there. I need a second.
I'll second the motion.
I have a motion and a second to do the closing certificate. All, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. Now we'll sign it.
From the project fund to the tip fund, so that the money is there for the first interest.
22-23 interfund transfer resolution 2023-20. It is hereby resolved by the Worth County Board of Supervisors that the county auditor is hereby directed to transfer $135,626.94 from capital project fund to the wind farm TIF. This is the amount that is required to be transferred per the terms of the Worth County, Iowa 5.7 general obligation of renewal bond series 2023A closing letter. This is the amount which shall be used to pay the December 1st, 23 interest payment due on the bonds. Is there a motion to approve resolution 2023-20?
A motion to approve the resolution.
Is there a second? I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion on that one? Roll call vote, Smeeby.
Aye.
Stone.
Aye.
Lober, aye. Motion carries. And next is Gary and Mary Tomlinson, mobile home tax interest abatement. You guys got the emails on this. They have, or Mark, their son, have recommended that because they got behind on this and the land that it sits on, the taxes have always been paid on. This is the house that sits on it. Trade, okay. And there is $3,288 in tax. There's $2,740 in interest and $32 in cost that they are willing to pay the tax of $3,288, but they would like a interest abatement and a cost abatement. And then they can get the taxes back up to date and get paying on them. It's an elderly couple that's just, it kind of went, it got away from them. So any discussion on this?
And Jeff, you guys saw the email from Jeff,
Yes.
his recommendations as well. Jeff Grieve, and evidently this has happened. It's a rare occurrence. According
2000. Last and it wasn't this.
and that's according to Jake Hansen too. That was it's a very rare occurrence, but
I did ask Jake to look to see if there's other ones out there that he might contact. Yeah. To be fair to everybody working. Depending on how this goes. But
yeah, I don't know. I get it. I understand it. I see both sides of it. I don't want to see anyone to think there's any favoritism, because that's what'll happen just because of the last name that's on it. That's the one thing I'm leery of, is if anything decisions made, is it because of it's one of our employees. But it shouldn't be that way, but that's gonna be the perception, no matter what we do. So I don't know what to say. I really don't.
that's
I'm
why,
on-
that's why I
I'm in the
mentioned it.
middle of it. I
Yeah,
really am.
that's why I mentioned it to Jake to see if there's anybody else out there. That's in this
Right.
position. He did.
Other than the one we have.
He said, yes, there is other ones out there, but he didn't, he was gonna get back to me and he was gone.
Otherwise, the other scenario where the trailer wasn't there, it wasn't, none of them.
Yeah, and in that case, there's nothing to do about it. Then you're out the tax money altogether. Here you'd be collecting the 3288 taxes
And going forward,
and going forward, puts it back on the tax roll where you're collecting. And the way to avoid this problem in the future is Jake is going to send Mark's parents letter or whatever and send you one too. In other words, you're going to get copies of this.
Yeah.
So. I'm down to the worst.
Like I say, it's one that's not on, it's not a tax sale situation, so it doesn't work that way, you know, it's, if it was, well, this special wouldn't be here, it would have been paid by someone.
And that's one thing that Jake said to me was if you've got a building site with bins sitting on it, you could run into the same situation. So. He said there's other ones out there, but not, it's very rare. What do you think? Buildings off the side. I'm sorry, I got what to say.
And Jeff's recommendation was to, get the tax back. Get it up to date, now it's there, keep it up to date, move on, pretty much. All motion to waive the interest
I have a
of
motion,
$27.40 and the cost of $32.
I have a motion and a second. To waive the interest and the cost. Is there any further discussion on it? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. Now we'll jump down. It's not 9 o'clock.
and then is there a certain amount of time to get it caught up then, or what's the timeline? Is that?
I thought it was, wasn't it in that letter? He said you'd get it caught up by June 1st. That's coming pretty quick.
Yeah, I can contact them. Probably.
Um,
Do you want me to amend my motion and put June 15th?
We've already voted on it.
Fine now, okay. I got confidence it'll be taken care of, so I guess.
board appointments. Anybody find anybody for eminent domain?
Still waiting to hear back from my
Landon
realtor.
Nygaard?
NICOG, they were, whenever Manly's council meeting was, they're supposed to discuss it again. I thought it was last week, 15th. But no,
I thought he told me it was gonna be,
the June meeting,
yeah, the June meeting, so.
June 1st, I think, Thursday, maybe is their meeting. So I'll reach out to Tim again and just see when their next meeting is on that discussion. So for NICOG.
Melissa, are you on?
I am. There's quite a few events coming up. One is a pretty big announcement for the North Iowa corridor. New Energy Freedom is going to be hosting a thing for the public. They're going to be breaking ground in 2024. Capital expense of $350 million for 40 full-time jobs. I'll send the thing here in the chat. But it's June 6th in Mason City, west of the Golden Grain Energy site. So just passing along the information on that one. And then June 7th, there's a housing TIF and abatement seminar. It's just a webinar. So John Danos and Heidi is putting it on, and we're just extending the invitation if anybody wants to hop on. And then NICOG is having their 50-year anniversary open house. And then there will be in August a rural economic development summit. It'll be in Mason City. And I think we're going to be partnering as a region on that, with the corridor, all of the regional EDCs on it. So that'll be some dates, in the future. I did send out the postcards for summer events. They should be coming in the newspapers within the next 2 weeks. And I extended the invitation to be put on the radio to some of the local communities, and I've gotten one Kensett resident and one Northern resident to take me up on the offer. So it's we just invite them to promote their own activity along with Kaylee or in lieu of Kaylee. It doesn't, I mean, it's just a courtesy that we like to extend. Kaylee and I are going to work on logo and website redesign this summer. And then we got word that there's 4 interstate welcome centers that will be closing. The Wilton Welcome Center, I-80 eastbound, Sergeant Bluff Welcome Center, I-29 southbound, Davis City Welcome Center, I-35 north and southbound, and then the Underwood Welcome Center, I-80 eastbound will be closing soon. I do have a Catalyst applicant with a deadline tomorrow. Or no, Catalyst grant applicant inquiries. So I've told them that if they are really interested to get their plans in order and come with me in the fall to a workshop for January is the pre-application deadline. The revolving loan applicant is due. I'm asking for that decisions to be done tomorrow. I've gotten 2 back and I just need 2 more. AJ.
I'll respond to you here as soon as we're done.
Okay, sounds good.
I did
We
read
do
through
have-
that. I just haven't responded yet, so.
No problem, no problem. We do have 74,000 available in our fund if there are any businesses that are looking to expand in our area. And I did speak with a Northwood resident who has some great ideas. I have him working with SBDC and he'd be a great candidate for venture school. So I'm excited about that. I did have 1 inquiry from Minneapolis about the interchange. And we received our first home base Iowa applicant for 4 City. So that's exciting. And I was nominated for Leadership Iowa and that was due last week. So I turned that in. So that was a busy week. So that was my end of my report.
Anything you guys got? Glenn?
Nope. Thanks, Melissa.
Thank you, Melissa.
No problem.
EMS continued discussion. I got a telephone call from Carl. And they came up with a figure of $500 every time they come into Worth County. They said it costs them more than that, but they're trying to be good neighbors. So they're going to keep it at that $500 rate. And then I asked him if I did have a question for him in the fact of if they get an ambulance called out and they get a call right back that says no, cancel it. At what point do they don't charge us? And he said they weren't sure about that yet. They're kind of looking at the Mason city limits. In other words, if they haven't got outside the city limits, they won't charge us anything. Other than that, if they come up and get turned around or do a non-transport, it's a $500 bill. So I did get information on that. Anything else on EMS? One of the things we're going to have to do now is we're going to have to get Allentown, Joyce, Fertile, and those 3.5 townships together and have a giant meeting and figure out, just like they did in Manly, scenarios. Even though they have funds available for next year, we need to figure out what they want to do this year to help out. So you want to contact them, see if we can set up a meeting on that. Sure. You got anything else on EMS right now?
Right now,
Chris is not going to be on today. And we've got, well, let's just hold tight here. I'm going to recess the regular meeting.
You can leave everything going. We just got to, yeah, we can leave everything going just a bit.
It's 9 AM. I will take a motion to open the public hearing. Is there a second?
Second.
I have a motion, a second on the public hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries. This public hearing is on Worth County Ordinance 2023-01. It's an ordinance readopting all the existing county code and all amendments thereto for Worth County, Iowa. Would you like it read while I go through it?
They can get it from the auditor's office if anybody requests. Basically, it just.
It's all the
Certifying
ordinances.
Code book.
Yep, it's all the ordinance that we've got in place and any ones that we took out. So is there any comments or questions from the public? Is there anybody on Zoom that has any comments or questions?
Not seeing anything in the chat. No hands raised or anything. Anybody's muted.
It's the one.
Just that one that, hold on a second, I'll tell you.
One.
Repeal of the county laws, renewable energy zoning exemption for property committed for county infrastructure projects. Took it out because of percentages. We didn't want to be locked into those percentages. Otherwise, they're all the same. So is there anybody on Zoom that has any questions or comments?
Not seeing anything here.
Well, if there is no comments or questions, this is the first reading of this ordinance. The second reading will be June 5th. I will take a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
I have a motion, a second to close the public hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries. I will reconvene the regular meeting. And we are on department head discussions. Anybody?
I'll file it. So we got a lot of people coming in. I'm got a copy or something like that, but it'll be released on Wednesday. So if anyone's got questions, just have them call down to say, we've got what we've memorized. Oh, that's all for me.
All right. Supervisors weekly reports. We'll let you go first this time. Mark.
Go ahead, the EMS discussion. So it's posted to the western part of the county too, and see if it's something we can understand like details.
That did not.
Okay.
And the only other thing I got was we finally got a figure on what it was the city's inch.
Okay, and then also had fuel intention, discussing the budget and approved it. Salary increases to lengthy discussion. Also, our building expansion, thank you, so it's finally done. Well, they're doing training last week and this week, so. Yeah. Finally got done. So.
Would you have Richie?
Just the EMS meeting, mainly Thursday night. Everybody knows the discussion there. And they, had care connection on Tuesday for Pittsburgh. We're getting into contracts. Reopened, signing contracts for the year with all of our service providers throughout the region. And then, we approved some of our impact grants. Which took probably $100,000 that's given out to service providers. To expand services, get that stuff going as part of our spend down on our fund balance so that we don't withheld, the state will withhold money if you don't spend it down to the certain percentages. So we are doing that to expand services throughout the regions. So we proved we have around $800,000 worth there. So we got a little bit left to try to get rid of by the end of the month. We've got some other projects that are coming in. So hopefully that'll be taken care of, but. That's all I have.
I had the EMS meeting down in Denton also. I thought there was a good turnout there. Quite a discussion. I had EMA and we amended the budget for the grants that we got to update the Worth County multi-jurisdictional hazard mitigation plan. We renewed our insurance with ICAP. It came in just a hair under what we budgeted. And we decided the gutters down in the building down at Kent's are leaking and becomes a hazard in the wintertime. They're dripping down, you can slip on the ice. So Mark's gonna get somebody to fix those gutters or replace them. And other than that, we passed the emergency support functions and the recovery support functions for the county. And that's all that I had. Anything on next week's agenda that is missing?
Melissa just gave us 4 things and then
I'll be attending NICOG for sure. So. That's in July or whatever. Entirely up to you guys. If you want to go, you don't have to, but and then I may attend that. Housing thing webinar that Heidi and Danos are gonna be putting on. Okay. I'm not sure if any of you guys are gonna attend that one, but those are the 2 things that I for sure will be doing. If anybody else is gonna, I guess, throw them on, otherwise. I'll be the representative, I guess.
Put 'em on.
Anything else we need to add? If not, I will take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I have a motion, a second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries. We are adjourned.